In the name of price and convenience, are you happy to turn a blind eye to the exploitation of children, to the burning down of forests, the very lungs of our planet, and to the displacement and extinction of entire species of tree frogs, rhinos, passenger pigeons, macaws, polar bears, pygmy elephants and orangutans? Most of us are oblivious, but most of us actually have our homes full of products that exploit children, employ slave labour, that avoid taxes that the rest of us have to pay, that burn virgin forests, that pump sewage and poisons into our rivers and seas, and CO2 into the atmosphere, that already kills over 4 million people each year. Wouldn't you like to know who those companies are, whose products fill your cupboards, your fridges, your bathrooms and your kitchens, as well as the purveyors of fast fashion that at affordable prices make you feel $1 million when you go out on a Saturday night? Or maybe in the name of style, price or just convenience, you would rather not know. The question is, are you an ethical consumer? Or do you even want to be an ethical consumer? If you do, this video is for you. Today I'm going to be talking about Ethical Consumer magazine and why anyone who cares about the environment, workers' rights, slave labour, child labour, animal cruelty or fair taxes for all above price, convenience and celebrity endorsement should subscribe to this online magazine and website. So let's get on with it. Before we get started, I want to say here that Ethical Consumer magazine is definitely very UK centric, but deals with global brands to the point where I think it's relevant to anyone who cares about this stuff anywhere on the planet. But let's start with a moral dilemma. If you found out that the landlord or owner of your local pub or bar, which we're going to call the Beavers Quim, has trafficked children as young as 5 years old as slaves and has them working in the kitchen to prepare your chicken in a basket, you would be appalled, and quite rightly so, would never, unless it was taken over by new owners, put your finger in or step foot in the Beavers Quim again. However much you loved the bar, or however convenient it was, or however cheap the beer and food was. It's actually not a moral dilemma at all, but I want you to hold on to that thought. Ethical Consumer, in a nutshell, is a British-based not-for-profit organisation founded in 1989 that rates products and brands based purely on their ethics rather than product reviews. An example, using, let's say, toothpaste. So instead of 7 out of 10 childless dentists recommend Pepsi toothpaste for their children's tooth care, it's more, in order to bring you Pepsi toothpaste, the Pepsi company have tortured animals, used violence against striking workers, employed children to work in sweatshops. But it's okay because it's in places you don't care about, not the Beavers Quim. Burn down virgin forest for palm oil and have avoided paying taxes in 32 of the 33 countries in which they operate. You can currently check the ratings on over 40,000 brands and products, with each product or brand being marked out of 20. And here you can see at the top of the list for toothpaste is Jorganic, I'm assuming that's how you say it, with 17 points. But at the other end of the scale, you have Boots with 0. With Pepsi toothpaste, absolutely nowhere in sight. With over 40,000 brands and products, actually I think I already said that, for me this has been an invaluable resource over the past couple of years as I've sought to become a more ethical consumer, where my new brand loyalty is now based on ethics rather than celebrity endorsement. So now I've done away with those nipple clamps endorsed by Kim Kardashian. Gone. That Tyson Fury sandwich toaster. Gone. Those David Beckham Y-fronts. Gone. That Noel Edmonds personal trimmer. Gone. The Monica Lewinsky Stain Away home dry cleaning kit. Gone. One of the things you'll notice about all of these products is, apart from them all being completely made up, although I think the David Beckham Y-fronts might be real, is that they are made attractive, not because they're good products, not because they are good products, or that anyone has reviewed them, but simply because a celebrity who has possibly never even seen the products has been paid often enormous sums of money to put their names to them. Look, we have all fallen for this on some level at some point in our lives. I myself always wanted to own an Alfa Romeo Spider after seeing The Graduate when I was a young man. And I do actually own one now, and it's beautiful. Although, and it wasn't through lack of trying, I never actually slept with my parents' friends. Here's to you, Mrs. Madison. Anyway, full disclosure, I do genuinely own an Alfa Romeo Spider. I've owned it for about 8 years now, and over the last 4 years, my average annual mileage has been less than 1,000 miles a year, as I walk, cycle, or get public transport almost everywhere. So, no, this does not make me a hypocrite. It fits in with the advice I would give to anyone. If you have an SUV, don't sell it to someone who's going to drive it more, keep it, and drive it less. I practice what I preach. Anyway, I digress. Fashion houses aside, you can usually expect to pay slightly more for ethical brands. And really, if you think about it, this is okay. After all, ethical companies pay their taxes, don't employ child labour, don't use violence or intimidation against their own staff, and don't do greenwashing. So back to the moral dilemma of the Beavers Quim. Once you understand why the beer and the chicken in a basket is so cheap, you are not going to be able to sleep at night continuing to frequent a bar knowing that it is child slavery and tax avoidance that has made it that possible. If you want to know who the Beavers Quim of fashion is, the Beavers Quim of cosmetics, tin tomatoes, electric bikes, coffee shops or shoes are, then Ethical Consumer has all of the answers. And for £30 a year subscription, it is worth every single penny. And I can guarantee that after a year, the contents of your cupboards, your fridge and your wardrobe at home will start to look very different than they are today. And whilst it is hard at first, it really is cathartic not to have sand in your eyes, your hair, your ears, your nose, your mouth and your brain anymore. Coming up next is Ask Angus, where my lovely assistant Anthea reads out your questions, which I will try and answer directly. So do stick around for that. But in the meantime, if you care about this stuff, and you should, and if you found this video useful, disturbing, insightful, you can share it on Facebook, you can share it on LinkedIn, you can share it on Twitter or anywhere else. And if you've not already done so, please do subscribe to my channel and hit the little notification button so that I can annoy you every week with a bing every time I put out a new video. It is entirely free. I don't want your money, just your eyes, your ears and your open mind. Let me have your comments, questions, your feedback. Are you already an ethical consumer? What do you think? And please do give the like button a scratch. Because of the nature of my channel, the YouTube algorithms see me as some sort of subversive. So by liking, subscribing, sharing or commenting, in fact doing all or any of these things really does help me reach a wider audience and helps me get the message out there and hopefully affect positive change.
Coming up next, it's Ask Angus.
So welcome back to Ask Angus, where I answer your questions directly. So Anthea, this week's question, please.
Tell me, is the whip significant in any way? My husband and I think you might be enjoying it just a little too much.
No, the whip doesn't have any significance beyond being something that actually entertained me, which may or may not actually answer your second question. But this has now been replaced. The whip has now been replaced for this season 7, with the scratch. So don't forget to scratch the like button. And if you enjoyed this video, you might like this one, or perhaps this one. Ooh, Mrs. Robinson.